Lord forgive me for this trap shit. Sergeant Smack making backflip. Telly Hank it with the action. With the Vato speaking Spanish. Frank Matthews how I vanish. Poof. Came back like I'm King Tut. Gold BBS is on a beamer. When Fat Cat was 10 queens up. Ball off the profit, not the re-up. Fly like Puerto Rican Jesus. Uptown like I'm Baby Maine. Just caught a touchdown from the Bay.
Developing tonight, she was a college hoop star on the rise, but now a standout on the Kennesaw State women's basketball team finds herself behind bars.
She tells 11 Alive her son was with a friend back in July who was arguing with Street over a game of dice, and $500 Street said she had won. Nashim's mother says police told her Street left upset after not receiving any money.
We were more than a team, we were like sisters. We were like a big family. We had our ups and our downs, but at the end of the day, they were like my sisters.
On the day of the state championship, a couple of guys woke me up texting, "Coach, we're ready, let's go." They're ready to play. That enthusiasm that this team brought, the skill, the scrappiness that they brought, that was something special.
Years, it's been a lot. I've never worked like this in my life, so just getting one means a lot, even if it's just one, because it just shows that hard work really does pay off. And when you keep working, sometimes it's not going to always go right, because we've been here before in 10th grade. But sooner or later, you keep your eye on the bigger picture, then it turns out, everything turns out right.
On Kamiyah Street's background, especially on the basketball court, because Maria, we're talking about someone who is making a big impression on women's basketball here in the state.
Yeah, Ryan, Kamiyah Street is a name local sports fans may have already heard. Street was a superstar athlete at both the high school and collegiate levels. Before her days at Kennesaw State, she was raking in accolades for both basketball and track at Mays High School. During her high school days, she was a three-time All-State point guard. She was also the 2016 5A Player of the Year. In track, she won state championships in multiple individual events, and when she got to college, her standout ways continued. Through her first 4 games of this season alone, she was averaging 21 points and 5 boards a game. Just last week, she recorded her 1,000th career point for Kennesaw State.
Kennesaw State, and 4 men are now facing murder charges today. We are learning more details about Kamiyah Street's alleged role in this crime. It is coming from the victim's mother, who spoke to 11 Alive's Joe Hankey for the first time today. Joe.
Sheen Hubbard Etienne's mother tells me he moved to Atlanta to study at Georgia State, and it also meant he could live closer to his father, who lives in the area. Today, Atlanta police told us this was possibly a targeted shooting back in July, but the victim's mother says her son was not the intended target. His friend was. Over the last several months, Atlanta police made a series of arrests connected to the July murder of Nashim Hubbard Etienne. First, officers arrested Cortez Banks, Jonathan Gilstrap, and Tobias Wells. Then on Thursday, police arrested Kennesaw State women's basketball player Kamiyah Street. The junior point guard was a starter for the team, and days before her arrest, led the team to a win against Georgia Southern while scoring 32 points. All 4 are charged with murder, and a Dontavius Bradley is still wanted in this case also for murder.
I smile when I think about the kind of person that he was.
Mayani Hubbard describes her son as always being loyal to his friends and family, and also being extremely easygoing.
It used to drive me crazy because he was just so laid back.
She says over the last several months, investigators shared details of the shooting and investigation. She tells 11 Alive her son was with a friend back in July who was arguing with Street over a game of dice, and $500 Street said she had won. Nashim's mother says police told her Street left upset after not receiving any money, and surveillance video allegedly shows her later returning with 4 men.
And it shows Kamiyah taking her car around to another side, and the 4 guys getting out and catching them, kind of catching them off guard. You know, they're walking through the gangway, catching them off guard, and it's just instant shots fired.
She added police told her that her son's friend was the intended target, but her son was the one shot and killed.
Emotionally, I want to outburst and say, rotten hell, right? But honestly, it's deeper than that. I want them to know that they took a beautiful soul from this earth, one that we still needed.
And this afternoon, the Fulton County District's Attorney's Office released a statement saying Kamiyah Street became a suspect after police reviewed surveillance video from the shooting. And the statement in part reads, upon questioning Street, she admitted her presence and participation in the death of Hubbard Etienne. Police recognized that some form of immunity would be necessary in this matter if Street was to serve as a witness for the state. The case has since moved forward with a grand jury indicting all 5 defendants on murder charges in this case in late October. Cheryl?
A lot of people done lost their life over a pair of dice. Yo, Shay's Popalot. We back on MOBB business. We just pulled into the great state of Georgia with it. Y'all go ahead and meet us in the A. Now today, I'm going to do my absolute best to tell y'all the story of a female that absolutely had WNBA promise, but will put all of it in doubt when she would end up in a situation in a dice game in mid-July of 2019. Now, Kamiyah Street, who was a standout junior starting point guard for the Kennesaw State Owls, who prior to her arrest had just scored her 1,000th point collegiately and had career averages of 17 points, 5 rebounds, and 3 assists per game, was said to grow up in the city of Atlanta and was a standout athlete in track and field as well as basketball at Mays High School, with the team going as far as winning the state championship with her running point. Now, with her talent level, I'm sure she had a different number of schools that were recruiting her, but she would choose to enroll in nearby Kennesaw State. And that could have been her choice for a multitude of reasons. One being familiarity to the city. Another one, she probably didn't want to be too far from her family. But regardless of her decision to choose Kennesaw, some people could look at that as a dreadful decision. But during her first few years on campus, it was no signs of that. And unlike a lot of college freshmen that got to get adjusted to the new environment, Kamiyah Street hit the ground running, especially on the basketball court, where as a freshman, she would go on to average 16 points and 5 rebounds a game, increasing that average in her sophomore year to nearly 17 points a game, which would lead up to the 2019 season, where in the first 4 games of the season, she would be averaging 21 points a game. But I'm 100% sure as she was lacing up for the first game of that season on November the 7th against the University of Georgia, she had to be thinking about a night that past summer on July 16th and the situation that the Atlanta Journal-Constitution would report as a man killed at a Southwest Atlanta apartment complex in a targeted shooting. The publication would explain how homicide detectives would be called to the Heritage Station apartment complex that Tuesday morning, right around 1:45 a.m. When detectives would arrive on the scene, they would find 21-year-old Nasheem Hubbard Etienne suffering from gunshot wounds. The murder would seemingly go under the radar for the next 4 months until the end of November in 2019, when authorities would announce the arrest of 22-year-old Cortez Banks, 21-year-old Jonathan Gilstrap, 20-year-old Tobias Wells, 20-year-old Donikis Brantley, along with Kennesaw State's starting point guard, Kamiyah Street. Authorities would paint a picture of the incident, saying that Kamiyah Street had been gambling with an unknown man who had been in the company of Nasheem Hubbard Etienne when a dispute would occur over a $500 debt that was secured in a dice game. Now, it was said that Kamiyah Street would leave the scene angrily over the $500 debt, but would be seen later returning to the scene on surveillance footage with the 4 individuals, where the unnamed friend and the alleged victim of the attack would tell police that he and Hubbard Etienne was getting out of a vehicle when they were approached by 3 men who started shooting at them instantly. Kennesaw State would immediately suspend Kamiyah Street and remove all her info, including her bio, from their website. Her case would get delayed with it happening in the height of COVID, but her lawyer, Kamiyah, will go on to tell a publication that she was in discussions with the state to try to get Kamiyah Street immunity or a reduced sentence in exchange for evidence. And she would paint a different scenario of the night of July 16th, 2019, saying that Kamiyah Street had been held up at gunpoint and had money stolen from her. And on that same night, she would ask some friends to help her recoup the money, going on to say that the altercation would escalate and shots were fired in self-defense. Now, this is where it gets tricky. And this is where anybody that's ready to ride for somebody want to pay close attention. Her lawyer will also add that Street was in the car when the shooting happened. She's in a difficult situation, she would say. She's not accused of doing anything. She's just accused of being party to a crime. Y'all make sure y'all hit that red bell and subscribe button right under this video so y'all know when this real trill spill shit is dropping. Y'all get in the comment box and y'all let me know what y'all think about this situation. Besides, it was a crash out mission, or was it even a crash out mission? We going hard over $500 in the dice game when we got a D1 basketball game coming up in a few months? Y'all definitely let me know what cities we need to go to, what stories we need to tell, what I missed, what gangsters I need to cover, all of that. Y'all tapping with me directly, Instagram, Twitter, POP_A_LOT. And until next time, y'all know the rundown. Salute the almighty mob.